Hey there and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're gonna look at another one of your required documents for the AP government curriculum, namely the Emancipation Proclamation. So if you're ready to get them brain cows milked, then let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing you need to know about the Emancipation Proclamation is what it actually did. And the answer is it freed all the slaves in the United States. Well, not technically all of them, but that's most of them. See, the proclamation declared that people held as slaves in Confederate states shall be then, there, and forever free, but it only applied to slaves in areas of the country that were in rebellion against the Union, which is why it had to be issued. In January of 1863, President Lincoln was trying to keep the border states as part of the Union, and he didn't have the constitutional authority to interfere with slavery in those states. However, because the Confederacy had seceded from the Union, Lincoln could use the power he had as commander-in-chief of the military to declare those slaves in the rebel states to be free, and that's what he did. Now, it's important to understand that this document did not abolish slavery throughout the United States. It only applied to the Confederate states. Also keep in mind that this was a war measure. Lincoln's primary objective in issuing the proclamation was to weaken the Confederacy by depriving it of its enslaved labor force. In fact, you could argue that this was Lincoln's ultimate objective all along, even though he didn't end up succeeding in that goal. Now, after the document was issued, confusion reigned for a while because many of the slaves in the South didn't know that they were free, and many of the slave owners didn't know that they were no longer allowed to enslave those people. But over time, of course, that confusion cleared up and the former slaves began to move on to freedom, which brings us to the significance of the document. The Emancipation Proclamation is significant for several reasons. First of all, it changed the nature of the Civil War. Before this document, the war was about preserving the Union. After this document, the war was about ending slavery. Secondly, this document is significant because it did not actually end slavery in the United States, but it did lay the foundation for doing so. That accomplishment would come a little more than 2 years later with the passage of the 13th Amendment. Okay, that's what you need to know about the Emancipation Proclamation. And finally, if this video helped you and you want me to keep making them, then subscribe and I shall oblige. I'm out.